Welcome to AI Will Power Business. Today, with our very first episode, we're joined by someone who I think is extremely insightful, one of my mentors, Tom Linn. He's going to provide a really insightful opinion today about how he started an internet company in 2005, what that was like, what the internet was like at the time, and what comparisons he sees from that revolution to the AI revolution in today's landscape. Tom founded Wireless Nation, who is also one of our clients. So we're also going to discuss why he decided to use us and some of the benefits that he got from using our solution. Enjoy. Welcome to the first episode of AI Will Power Business. I'm your host, Will, and I'm thrilled to finally bring this podcast to life. It's been a long journey filled with many hurdles and obstacles to overcome, but we're finally here and we've got a fantastic guest to kick things off. So today we're joined by none other than Tom Linn. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background. I'm going to give the audience a little bit of a background on you, Tom.
Sure, Tom. Sure, Will.
So, Tom, you're the visionary founder and executive director of the internet service provider Wireless Nation. Tom came from his home country, Myanmar, all the way to New Zealand in 2002, where he knew no one. He finished his master's in 2003 and founded Wireless Nation in 2005. Under his leadership, Wireless Nation has grown into a leading internet service provider, winning many awards such as Best Wireless Service Provider multiple times. Wireless Nation provides internet connections to over 10,000 Kiwi homes and businesses. It is known for its exceptional customer service and innovative technology solutions. Tom's impressive background also includes Master of Engineering, studies in Artificial Neural Networks from AOU, Bachelor of Engineering and Computer Engineering from Assumption University, where he graduated with Cum Laude Honour and Certificate of Excellence. Being a course coordinator and lecturer for New Zealand National Institute of Studies, as well as a member of advisory board for his expertise in IT and management. He is also owner and director of IT On Demand, which he founded in 2009, and helps create on-demand cloud solutions for businesses. Tom is also a volunteer ESOL home tutor where he helps teach English and provides social support to adult migrants and refugees to help them settle in the community and lead successful lives in New Zealand. Tom also volunteers as an industry advisor at NZSCE. Tom is a mentor of mine. Wireless Nation is one of my clients, and he's the perfect guest to have for the first episode of this podcast. So, Tom, that's quite the CV. How are you doing?
I'm very excited to be here, and thank you for giving the opportunity to be your guinea pig.
Yeah,
I like being guinea pig. Actually, it's quite interesting job.
That's right. You never know what's going to come.
You never know what exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, very privileged to have you on, and I'm sure we're going to have a very insightful, interesting conversation today.
Yes. Let's see. We shall see.
So, yeah, I tried my best to cover all your accomplishments. I still think I missed a lot, but to give the audience maybe a bit more background from your perspective, could you give your story on how you came to New Zealand, how you got into being an entrepreneur, and how you ended up starting an internet company in 2005? Because I think, I've heard the story. It's quite inspiring to me.
Yeah. All right, Will. So I left from my home country, which is called Burma or Myanmar, in 1998. So in those days, we had the military coup. So dictatorship was in the country, and Myanmar was transitioning from the socialist to become market economy, and but there were no opportunity for like the young people like myself at the time. So I essentially left from Myanmar to Thailand first, where there were more universities, like especially for the international ones, that I was looking for the scholarship opportunity since I could not afford. So I went there first. Then I was very fortunate enough to get the scholarship to study engineering at top university, the top international university in Thailand at the time. And then upon my graduation, so I studied there for about 3 years instead of 4, because I was always paranoid that I might not have enough resources to complete it. So it means that I might have to essentially start working before finishing off the degree, because you never know. things can change in life, especially with the scholarship.
Yeah.
So then I was just saying, okay, do I go back to Myanmar, where there is a dictatorship still going on, and with very limited opportunity for the tech industry, especially in IT, or do I continue to travel abroad further and then learn more about how the modern economies work, especially with the technology. So I then went to see different options online. I must say that at the time in early 2000s, so that was the time of the dial-up internet, right? So it was really popular at the time. I remember like we have a thing called a little cell phone. It is called a personal PTCs, which is personal telecommunication computer, something like that, and where you can call each other unlimited, like a landline. So it is a landline extension. To have that device, you need to have a landline first.
Okay.
Like that was in Thailand,
Yes.
and then after that, you can then buy up to 9 of these little PTC, which are like a little cell phone devices. You can imagine like a cordless phone, which you can just take around the city.
Oh, wow.
And then you can call your friends. And there was no texting. So in those days, if you want to text, there was a thing called paging. So you page.
Paging. I've heard about this from my parents. I'm very limited on what it is.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, so we page each other and say like, Tom, call me. And then so I'm like, okay, so I call to that person,
Yeah.
landline number or
I see.
something like that. Yeah.
And then you communicate through that.
Yeah. And then it was the day when I guess the 2G. So there was a war between the GSM standard versus a thing called CDMA, which is it's just a 2 different standards of mobile phone. And there was a war, so like fighting in a way that one want to dominate. So like become a dominant standard around the world. So it was interesting time. And then anyhow, I found out about Auckland University where they were offering the computer system engineering program at the postgraduate level, where you can actually do artificial neural networks, which is along the line of machine learning.
Wow.
So
there before anyone else, Tom. More or less.
I wouldn't say that, but anyway, interesting. Again, so then I applied for that, and I also applied for the entry into the University of New South Wales in Australia. Yeah. Anyhow, so I got the opportunity to study at the Auckland University in the end, and then also with the scholarship from the organization called the Prospect of Burma, so which helped young Burmese, and also my aunt who was working at the UNICEF at the time, so at the UN, and then I told her that I wanted to continue to study, especially for the future. So say if I go back to Myanmar, then I don't know if I can come back out, and also if I will be able to apply what I learned as the computer engineer.
Yeah.
So then my aunt agreed, and then with the scholarship from the Prospect of Burma, based in the UK, as well as with my aunt assistance for the tuition fees, then I managed to came to Auckland University to continue my postgraduate. That was in 2002. Then just before I graduated, about 6 months before that, then my professor asked me if I wanted to essentially go back to Burma, or if I wanted to stay here, and then I can learn more. And then I said, oh well, I think it would be better to stay here. Then he advised me to start looking for a job, and I applied for a job. I put my CV up, and then I got a phone interview quickly. Then after that, it became a personal interview. Then after that, I got 2 more interviews, and I was essentially offered a job, a full-time job. So that was in 2003. then as I was working at the time in the news, so because I am avid reader, so I read a lot, especially the journals and magazines and the news, online and offline. And in those days, Telecom New Zealand owned all the copper wire, the wiring.
Yes.
Around the country. So essentially, they do both retail and wholesale. So they own the line, and then you can try to lease the services or the infrastructure from them, assuming that they allow you to do that. I knew that it was quite difficult and expensive. So essentially, people were like complaining that, hey, look, we need to have a better telecom infrastructure, and that well, especially in like regions. So if you get out of Auckland, even like if you go to like, let's say Bombay Hill or something like that, or even maybe just as far south as like, I don't know, Manukau. So you might have a different type of service. So, it's not like now, right?
No,
so there was no fiber.
Unimaginable.
And there was no wireless whatsoever. It was just all like landline based. So people were just complaining that even if I want to pay for it, I still cannot actually have it.
Yes.
And that they need it for essentially studying or even for like research, things like that. So for work.
Yeah.
So so there has been outcry one after another in the news, and then I was like, oh. The thing is that it is going to be a huge infrastructure upgrade for the telecom to do that, and not only that, it is going to be economic change. So they need to change the business model where they have to somehow divide between wholesale and the retail.
Yes.
So that there can be a competition in the services. And of course, when you have a monopoly provider in any industry, so what happened is that people complain, right? Say like, I'm not happy with the service. And yes, the service levels were not there. I myself actually experienced it.
Yeah.
So I thought that, hey, maybe I can find a solution around it. And especially that I play with the Wi-Fi as I was studying computer system engineering. So then I thought, hey, why don't I put a wireless, a Wi-Fi system in my apartment in town? So I was living at the Wakefield Street, and my apartment is facing the student flats, so tons of student flats. So I can see like, I guess, hundreds of rooms, from my window. So I'm like, okay, so why don't I put a Wi-Fi router in my room, then broadcast it, so and see how far it goes. So I went around the buildings and test with my laptop to see the signal strength, and I had a booster antenna attached to my laptop, so I can see. Then I realized that it is actually a viable option, and so I essentially incorporated Wireless Nation. And then cut out the A3 size ads saying that you can get the unlimited internet from me, and then I put it in the letterboxes. So that's how it started.
Oh, okay. Wow. Wireless Nation.
Yeah.
Very.
So the vision was essentially, why do we have to keep complaining? A big provider, which is going to be, slow to essentially come up with the new ways of doing things. It is just the size of the company, so it's hard to respond. So it takes time. So I understand that. So they then say like, well, instead of like complaining, then why don't we do something about it?
Right.
Yeah. And of course, I have friends in the rural area who got farms, and then they were saying like, well, in the farms, it is actually even worse, because in town, you at least, if you have a phone line, you can still get like, at the time, we were transitioning from dial-up to become ADSL, which is faster.
Okay.
So essentially, broadband day one.
Oh, right. Okay.
It was like, I think 1 megabit or
Wow.
something like that per second. So it's like quite fast.
Yeah.
So I mean, the dial up is what, 56K
Okay.
in a good day, right? So if there was a problem, you probably get like 32 kilobit per second compared to 1 megabit, which is 1024 kilobit per second. So that's like
Big upgrade.
big upgrade, right? So it's quite fast.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was day one. But so my farming friends were saying that, hey, look, if I want to get ADSL, like broadband day one at my farm, I can't get it because it's too far away from the exchange. Because ADSL can only run so far in the line from the exchange. So the distance matter. So then I thought about, then what else can I do wirelessly bypassing the wires? So then I found out that there was the biggest broadband satellite being launched in our region, so which means Asia Pacific, and so it has a coverage of Australia and New Zealand as well. So I contacted their representative based in Auckland and say, hey, look, can I have wholesale agreement with you so that I can actually offer the service to my farming friends or farmers. And
Yes.
so yeah, they sat down with me, they listened to my story, my vision or passion, and then they're like, okay, yep, if you can find if you can buy 10 equipment, like 10 units of equipment, which will cost about, I guess at the time, $30,000 NZ, then we can sign the wholesale agreement, and then but I don't have $30,000. So yeah, this is where I went to talk with a bunch of business owners at the Waikato Home and Garden Show and explained my concept and demonstrated the capability. So I installed a dish on the ground with the Wi-Fi antenna system. So aerial at the back of the car, and then we were sitting in the conference room or the meeting room, a big meeting room with 50 people, and then I demonstrated streaming onto the laptop, wirelessly.
Yes.
So it goes from the laptop to the car via Wi-Fi, from the car to the satellite, all the way to the satellite, which is 36,000 kilometers away, and come back down to Auckland Gateway, where there's a 12-meter dish, which is very big in Albany, and then from there it connects to fiber optic, and then goes internet, and then back and forth. So it comes back down again. So but they were really shocked because essentially now you can bypass the dial-up network, so copper line, and then you can go straight to space. Yes, something like that. So yeah.
And then they were convinced, and
then overnight I received emails from them offering, essentially say, hey, look, if you want to sell the shares or something like that, if I can get into the business, then we are interested.
Yes.
So there were multiple parties. So there were at least like 3 different groups of business people or the owners. They were proposing to, I guess, partner with them so that we can launch it into the rural community as a Wireless Nation satellite broadband nationwide. And I selected a group which has a bunch of farmers because I thought that if you want to be successful in business, you need to understand your customers. And
100%.
What is a better way to have a bunch of customers as your investors? Then they can tell you all about their,
struggles,
needs, wants, wishes, and so on. And then you may be able to try to develop the product, which will suit them 100%. So yeah, so that's why I sided with them. And also they have experience in running businesses. The farming business is quite tough.
Yeah.
So I thought I can learn a lot from them. So I actually say, hey, look, I want I want you to become shareholders of Wireless Nation. And then so they invested essentially around $500,000 cash. And so with that, we then launched into nationwide satellite broadband offering in 2006, October at Waikato Home and Garden Show.
Wow. So you've come to New Zealand in 2002.
2002, yes.
2002. You finished your master's degree. You got a job. You managed to stay here. And then a few years later, you've already managed to start up a business and raise all this money and managed to expand it that crazy. No time to waste.
No time to waste. So yeah, I think when you are also younger,
Yeah.
especially in your 20s, I think you have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I think 20s, 30s, and so on, I think you have a lot of energy. And I think it's important that we utilize the energy, very well. So that, you can do exciting things. And then, it is, of course, even better if you can do something for the community while you prosper, so that essentially everyone can prosper together.
Completely agree. Yeah. Wow. It's such a cool story. I've obviously heard it before, but I think many people listening are going to find that pretty inspiring and hopefully motivate some people out there to stop sitting around and take action. Doing another good thing for the community, Tom. Only kidding.
Yes.
So, Tom, the next thing I wanted to talk to you about was, this is obviously the AI Will Power Business podcast. So we have to talk about AI at least a little bit. So, the last big technological innovation in the world was the internet. And like I said, it's hard for me and most young people now to imagine a world without it. It's come so far. So you were starting to provide internet solutions to businesses, farmers, everything like that, when it was still not really being used the same way it is now, I assume. I mean, I don't know. I was a baby. Yeah. So, the first question I have was, what was the demand like for the internet at the time compared to now?
Yeah.
How much were people using it?
Yeah. It's quite interesting. Like when the dial-up started, interesting thing about application is that, like, in my opinion, the first thing people were really trying to do is sharing music or downloading illegal music. I mean, so then it was a rise of MP4. So MP3. So it started with MP3, now MPEG-4, so MP4, so MP3. So because MP3 shrink the file size to be a few megabytes, so that you can actually download it on a dial-up connection. And of course, when you have a faster internet like broadband, day one, then the ADS of one, then obviously it is much faster. So they were fast sharing. So all is interesting. So it is more for entertainment, but even nowadays, you can see that a lot of people use broadband for streaming.
Yeah.
Right. So they need broadband because they want to stream without buffering.
Yeah.
Right. So so in those days there were talks about it. Eventually, it's just not music, but also there will be bigger files like movies and so on. Right. And it was actually driving it, I believe. And of course, on top, being able to send the email with large attachments.
Yes.
Could have the really good potential for the businesses.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember, like, there was a time that they were also talking about, maybe we can make a video calling.
Oh, really?
Like on the phone.
Yes.
Yeah. So in 2003, 4, 5, like, so around that time, the phones were like dumb, so it's not smart.
It's dumb phones.
The dumb phones and now
smartphones.
Yeah, so I heard that now they're becoming a little bit more popular again.
Yeah.
The dumb phone, because people wanted to disconnect from, all the online things going on. So anyhow, in parallel, there was a huge excitement about the applications or like the potential with the internet speeds. So internet, like faster internet. Yeah. So if there was the faster internet, what can they do? So in some way, I think it is very similar to AI. But at the same time, people were saying like, oh my God, there will be like job losses because internet is going to like take over
Yeah.
like a lot of jobs, right? So yeah, like I remember like there will be no more post because obviously before
Email.
the internet, before email, right?
Yes.
We always write the letters. So
Yeah.
I remember writing back and forth letters with my grandmother in Burma, and it takes a long time, like a month. and then email came, and then I was emailing my aunt, and then it was like I was very excited. It was so fast, So I'm like, oh my god, the potential with this is like amazing, right? And then of course, can you imagine that it's just not about emailing but also talking like voice. So it means that we can bypass normal telephone connections, which are very expensive, which were very expensive at that time, especially for we call them the trunk calls, so long distance calls.
Yes.
Even in New Zealand, if you were calling from Auckland to like Hamilton,
Yeah.
it is expensive. So you like, can you imagine like, so calling from Auckland to like Bangkok or Auckland to Burma,
Megabucks.
Yangon, like really expensive. So then we like, okay, so we started using the application like in those days, I think ICQ. So that there was applications called ICQ where you can make a phone call.
Okay.
Yeah. So that, and then after that you have MSN Messenger, where you can make calls and also do the file sharing, like you can send images and files. And then after that you have like Yahoo. Yahoo was, doing the Yahoo thing. And then, so and so on and so forth. And then there was a potential for video call. And I believe we actually did some video calling, but it was not very good. Yeah. It's not like now. But anyhow, in some way, the excitement is quite similar.
Yes.
And also there was some uncertainty or like some, negativity around, say like, what are the implications of that? And yes, any new technology can be quite disruptive. And yes, people it can have impact on the society and we see it, right? So the thing is that yes, some job may be disappearing or may have disappeared, but then it created the new jobs. So new opportunities, And and that we know now that whenever there is an uptake of, let's say, data, then it has a direct impact on the GDP. So the earning of the country. So the earning can increase because economy efficiency, I guess, improve. And
Absolutely.
Through the communication, better communication, faster communication. So or more affordable, communication. So so I think there is always positive. It is just about the managing those the side effects.
100%.
More the side effect. Yeah.
100% agree.
Did I answer your question?
You answered it perfectly. So at the start, the internet was mostly used for entertainment. Yes. It was excited for entertainment purposes.
Yes.
There was obviously, a huge difference in businesses at the time that started embracing it and wanting to implement it into their systems to increase their efficiency, like we said, come up with new opportunities, compared to the businesses that were, or businesses and individuals, I should say, that were, scared of this technology, didn't want anything to do with it. It's something they really just had to embrace. And from your experience of this time, what did you notice?
Yeah. So as an example, right? So if you have a business where you take the phone calls, right? Normal phone calls, the landline phone calls, then at the time, as the internet started improving, then you have choices between, hey, look, the phone calls can be routed via the internet. So it means that you can convert your normal, traditional systems or conventional big the phone box to become just internet phone box, so which is small.
Yeah.
Then if you have it, if you did that, so what happens is that the first advantage is that if there was a problem with like power cut or anything like that, right? You can easily move the whole phone system or the phone to another location quick without losing your number, because the number goes with your obviously internet phone system.
Yes.
So it means that relocation is very quick.
Yeah.
Right. But if you were having just normal system, then obviously you are stuck with a line. So that means that if the offices has to be shut because of flooding or anything, power outage, then your phone is essentially, you can answer the phone. Right. So that's that's one of the example.
Yeah, absolutely.
So another one would be like if you did not embrace the internet. So if you embrace the internet, so what could you do is you can move a lot of your system online. It means that it will give you opportunity to be able to work from any location. Right? COVID-19 actually really demonstrated that capability is important, right? So a lot of businesses adopted to be able to do things online. So what happened was that then if you cannot go to the office for any reason, then you can continue to run your business, assuming that it is a kind of business that you can run from anywhere. Then obviously it will save your business.
Absolutely.
So it's quite important, and then I know that there were also a lot of businesses which decided not to adopt the internet age, modern mechanisms, and then obviously like they were, I would say, left behind.
Yeah.
In the competition.
Absolutely. And I mean, to anyone out there listening, if you're a small to medium-sized business, don't get left behind, okay? Use Willbot AI.
Yeah, I think it's quite important, but it's, essentially, yes, because the smaller you are, you need to be more agile. I think that's the only way you will survive, because, big fish, small fish.
Absolutely.
So if you're a small fish, you need to be more agile.
I think as well, Tom, you'd probably agree with me in saying that the smaller businesses that leverage this technology, right, especially in the pivotal times, can seriously get a fighting chance against the bigger companies, right? Because they're able to move faster, like you said, and these technologies can help so much.
Yes.
And so
especially with the AI, I think, especially with AI, small business advantage is like how you just said it about agility. So small, so can be flexible and can be more agile. And that's your advantage. And disadvantage is that you don't have the resources. The big fishes, so the big businesses, established business, incumbent, they have a lot of resources.
Yeah.
But however, that's the advantages, but a big advantage. But the disadvantage is that because they are so big, it's hard to move, hard to essentially change course. It takes time for them to like change course.
Yes.
It's just like a very big ship like Titanic. So then, and therefore they are slow mover. So if they want to make change even to adopt AI, it's much harder for them to actually adopt across the whole organization. Right? So then if you're a small business, a small organization competing with a large business, and yet you are as slow as in terms of adoption for the new ways of doing things, or to improve efficiency or the competitiveness, then obviously your advantage is not there.
No.
And you don't have the resources either. So, and therefore I think it will be quite hard in the world of AI, in my opinion, with the rise of AI coming into the business world. I think it will be, I think those businesses will really struggle, I think.
I completely agree, obviously. So, I mean, Tom, that's going to bring me on to my next point.
Yes.
So, obviously, Wireless Nation is one of my clients. We've really worked together to create some custom solutions that meet your guys' needs specifically. We've helped you centralize AI usage with the creation of Wireless Nation GPT, which has helped manage AI usage within the team, get them, now they can have 24/7 instant answers about company processes, etc., and it's all secure. We've also added the smart search bar to the website, which is helping service customers. And due to the success of those solutions, we're now working on implementing a chatbot as well to provide further customer support. So you've previously told me that Wireless Nation is investing into AI this year, as most businesses do. Could you talk to me more about why, as a company, you guys are doing that specifically?
So again, it is actually really to improve. For us, we are customer-centric business, so really to improve customer experience. So
Yes.
essentially, it's like that. So customer would say, oh, I want a cool product, or I want new product, or better pricing. But at the end of the day, if customer needs help, and that if the help is not provided instantly, even if they have the best pricing, customer satisfaction drop to like zero instantly.
Absolutely.
So can you imagine that customer was having the internet problem, right? So they want to watch Sky Sport or Spark Sport.
Yeah.
For the game, and internet was not working. So somehow the streaming is not working. And then they try to call us after hours, right? So maybe like at 11 p.m. when no one is operating. Then they just get to the answering machines, saying that we are out of office. So can you imagine that if we have somehow AI which can assist the customer with suggestions, saying like, have you done the reboot? Have you can you see the blue light or green light or something like that? So if AI can assist, so I mean the trained AI, so AI that which has been trained thoroughly, so then obviously customer satisfaction will improve. Right? So it is win-win because customer will be very happy that they get the resolution quite fast, even outside office hours. And for us, when it comes to the business, losing customer is very costly because getting to onboard a new customer in such a competition is quite costly. So investing in making sure that the existing customers are happy and they want to continue to consume their services from you is paramount. So AI, I think there is a hope for us to be able to achieve that exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and you mentioned something about the internal GPT,
Internal usage,
the
within the
wireless nation
company.
GPT. So which we contain the document. So essentially put it into like a container, so that it's not shared with like public GPT. So then it is also again it saves a lot of time, which is translated to become obviously the productivity, efficiency, customer service, more time for the customers, less time to answering internet questions. So essentially, imagine that if I can save 5 minutes of conversation with to help certain team members to answer like where the file is or how to do certain things like small things. 5 minutes. And if I can cut down my 5 people from asking me every day, so that's 25 minutes. So that's at 25. That's 25 minutes of time that I can actually use it elsewhere and hopefully to improve the customer experience instead of like answering
the
questions that which can be answered by the machine.
Absolutely.
But by the AI.
Yeah.
So why don't I do that, right? And not only that, the team can also get those answers very quick so that they can continue to do their task.
Absolutely.
Right? No one want to be like waiting for like me to be like answering certain questions.
No.
Right. And that also like it is a border for them. Bothersome,
100%.
There you go.
Well, yeah, thank you for that. I think, it's been great to work with you guys. And we've seen firsthand that it's been really useful to you guys as a company. And we plan to allow more businesses these same benefits.
Yeah.
So the next question I have is, when you first decided to use Willbot as your AI provider, I only had one other client at the time. So tell me, Tom, why was it that you decided to go with us and not do it in-house or look somewhere else? Obviously I know, but for the viewers.
Yes. Well, first of all, AI is still, from our perspective, is still fairly new.
Yeah.
is a fairly new concept, a fairly new thing. So we need to first experiment a little bit.
Yeah.
And so then, but at the same time, we need to be able to trust the provider because, or all the people working on it,
Yeah.
essentially simply because, you may be manipulating or engaging the sensitive information, right? Or like touching with the customer, so
Yeah.
in touch with the customers in some way, right? Through this new technology. So it is unknown. But the thing is that in your case, first, although we were only the second organization, but you already have a solid customer as far as we're concerned, which has who is also highly reputable. So, Westlake Boys, for example.
Yes.
And that I know that for the school, you need to provide a good information through the AI. So it means that if they use you as a service provider, then obviously it cannot be that bad.
It can't be that bad. No. Yeah.
Well, and so that's the first point.
Yeah.
The second one being we don't want to invest. So we really don't want our existing team members to be like playing with it because they are already busy.
Absolutely.
So like I don't want to do it like, hey, look, spend 5 hours of your time, every week
Yeah.
to do AI, but I know that it's not enough. And also it's not good because I think you need to have a focus.
100%.
So dedicated person. So essentially, like we have a choice between whether we create a new role, AI, I don't know, person, AI role, AI trainer or AI engineer role, and then spend the money and obviously it costs a lot to do that because it's just not about a role, but
And
also
it's a
HR
risk.
get involved, everybody get involved. You need to manage it, so. And obviously, it is a risk.
Yes. You can't just get rid of them.
Yeah.
You can just get rid of me.
No. I mean, like it is more like retaining them. So
I know what you mean. Yeah.
retaining the talent can be quite challenging.
Yeah.
Especially in New Zealand because a lot of the young talents are seeing the opportunity elsewhere, especially in Australia, and the UK or elsewhere. So, they get experience, and then after that they go for the better opportunities, more exciting places in the world. So being a young person, I understand that. So for us, it is actually about managing those risks. And that, but at the same time, we cannot just like let, whoever do it.
No.
So it need to be credible. So when you were explaining about AI, we actually can see that you know what you're talking about. And you are very, very passionate about AI and then you know about it, you have done it. And that you have a drive, so and you want to continue to advance.
Yes.
So all of those give us a confidence to give it a shot. So take a chance.
And it worked out. Thank you very much for that, Tom. I appreciate it. So
You earn it.
yeah, thank you. So let's start to wrap this up because we got the time coming to an end now. So I'm sure based on your following that there's going to be a lot of young people, based on the podcast following, apologies, there's going to be a lot of young people and aspiring entrepreneurs tuned in and listening. My question to you, Tom, without trying to put you too much on the spot, is what would you say is one piece of advice that you could give to everyone out there that's aspiring to create a business like Wireless Nation and, take on the world?
Oh dear.
What from your experience, what would you say was one thing where you thought that's the number one most important thing?
Yeah, I think the most important thing to me is really follow your passion.
Yes.
So if you are passionate in something, follow it, because especially for the business. Okay, so if you are ever going to start a business as at any age, then if you have a passion, so what will happen is that business is going to go through multiple stages, and every stages of transition, there will be both plus and minuses, and sometimes the minuses may be more than plus. And if you don't have a passion, then what will happen is that you may not have enough energy to essentially counter that. So you need to remain positive and then believe in what you do to continue to essentially strive and thrive. Right? So I say that, have that first.
Very, very wise advice. And I completely agree as well. So, Tom.
But Will, if I may add,
you may.
Yeah, also try to understand the difference between, this is particularly for the young people. So try to understand the difference between passion and obsession. So let's not turn your passion to become obsession. So if you are like, passion is good, but if it's an obsession, it could also have some negative effects in your life.
Yeah.
So I think we need to be mindful of that. So this is where I think young entrepreneurs or even like young business owners, or in general the young people, I think it would be good to have some mentors around that they can actually ask the questions and say, am I on the right track, or give some advice or get some advice, because it is quite important to bring that balance.
100%. That's why I'm very grateful to have you, Tom. Whenever I need the advice, you always help me out. So, very wise words. Once again, completely agree. Balance is important. If you focus too much on one thing, you're going to get burnt out, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yes. Like, if you don't believe it, try to drink plenty of water. Drink a lot of water and see what happens.
Even water.
even a lot of, if you drink way too much water, yes, it may not be, it is not good for you.
100%.
Ask your GP.
Yeah. So, Tom, thank you so much for joining me today on my, the first episode of AI Will Power Business.
How exciting.
Sharing your incredible journey, insights, and expertise. It's been truly inspiring for me to hear about it, and your thoughts on AI in today's landscape as well. So, before we wrap up, one last thing. Anything you'd like to promote at all while you're on here? Anything or?
No, I mean, it has been inspiring for me as well to see the young person trying to excel, and becoming an expert in a particular area. I think that's quite inspiring for me, and also very hopeful for the future generations, because as we get older, then we need to have the new leaders in the world who will actually hopefully do better than our generation. So that's how the human civilization can advance. So it is so good for me, and also I speak for other more incumbent business owners that it's good to have emerging young entrepreneurs, coming to the stage and slowly taking over.
Slowly taking over.
They're very good. Amazing.
Okay, well, that's good
Thank
to
you,
hear.
Will.
No worries, Tom. Anytime. So, for our listeners, I hope you found today's episode as enlightening as I did. If you enjoyed the podcast, please be sure to subscribe to AI Will Power Business on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us bring more valuable content to you. If you're interested in how AI can revolutionize your business, check out willbot.ai for more information on how we can help your business start implementing AI and get some amazing results like Wireless Nation did. Stay tuned for our next episode coming up the following week. We've got another guest planned and it's going to be great. Thanks for listening and see you next time on AI Will Power Business. Thanks, Tom.